First at 4, Denver police have arrested a 17-year-old boy in the deadly shooting on I-70 late last month.
Because he is underage, police are not saying much about him, but they did say he and the man he is accused of killing did not know each other. The man who died is 31-year-old Kevin Piakowski. That shooting happened at night on July 31st, and video shows Piakowski heading west on I-70 near the Quebec exit. Police say the shooting happened after the suspect had been seen driving aggressively in a stolen truck. That truck was then part of a multi-car crash along with an SUV whose driver ran off on foot. Denver police picked up that 17-year-old suspect last night in Westminster. They're still trying to figure out if the driver of that SUV is connected to all this. Elijah McClain's mother says she's getting more and more frustrated by the pace of the criminal case against the 5 men accused of killing her son.
McClain died 3 years ago this month. Police stopped him on the way home, even though he did nothing wrong. He died after officers put him in a neck hold and paramedics injected him with ketamine. In September of last year, 3 Aurora police officers and 2 paramedics were charged with manslaughter and criminal negligent homicide. Their arraignments were scheduled for today, but then at the last minute, a judge postponed them at the defense's request. McClain's mother, who was in the courtroom for the proceedings today, said she's angry and disappointed by how slowly the case is moving.
That's what cowards do, and the lawyers that work for them, you know. I feel like my son was murdered in 2019. They've had plenty of time to go through all the paperwork, all the discovery, whatever they needed to aid them in their so-called defense of the killers that murdered my son.
The arraignments are now scheduled for November 4th at the Adams County Judicial Center. Colorado has some brand new tools to help people be rescued in the mountains. 2 new helicopters have arrived about a week ago.
They're getting outfitted for search and rescue and will soon be ready to fly. 9 News reporter Noel Brennan got to see them up close.
Adding to our fleet is a real win for the citizens of Colorado.
At Buckley Space Force Base, a new bird joins the flock.
It's been here a week.
Of the Colorado Army National Guard.
This is the pilot stations.
It's not just a shiny new toy.
It even has the new helicopter smell.
Colonel Will Gentle knows this chopper will save lives.
We do all of the hoist rescue operations for search and rescue in Colorado. We come to a hover, and then we'll hoist them up to the helicopter, fly away, get them to care. We conduct about 25 bona fide rescues per year, save on average about 25 lives.
The new Lakota helicopter will give the Black Hawk a break from search and rescue and will cost about half as much to fly because it's more fuel efficient and cheaper to maintain.
And it's just an amazing setup that just displays all kinds of information that's useful to the pilots right at their fingertips.
This Lakota packs 25% more power than the previous model.
With the 5 blades, we have better performance, more power.
Which means it can handle hovering in Colorado's thin air.
The aircraft will actually hover itself. It will just stable flight, stay right there where you ask it to.
The new bird will be ready for its first rescue soon.
It's cutting edge technology right off the shelf.
It's just waiting in the wings until it's time to fly.
So the Department of Defense bought 18 of these helicopters, and Colorado received 2. Colorado's hoist rescue team says it has saved 13 lives so far this year. Between Memorial Day and Labor Day, that team flies 2 to 3 times a week on average. And guys, this new helicopter is going to be their new workhorse in those missions.
It's really cool to see in the new technology and how this is equipped for these high altitude rescues, but truthfully, we need them. We've seen rescues, to your point, 13 already this year. They do this all the time.
Absolutely. You hear those numbers and it's kind of shocking, but yeah, we've covered them. We've seen them happen. There are some amazing rescues that they have done. There was one on Crestone Needle just a couple years ago. They actually had GoPros rolling during that rescue. Absolutely incredible footage. It just shows you what these guys do on a daily basis.
Amazing.
Wild jobs they have.
Yeah, saving lives. All right, Noel, thank you very much. The family of Ann Heche released a statement today announcing that they have lost a bright light. Heche was declared legally dead according to California law, but so far she has not been taken off life support. That's because they're planning organ donation. Last Friday, Heche was traveling in a car at a high rate of speed when it ran off the road and collided with a home. Then the car caught on fire. The actress suffered from a brain injury because of a lack of oxygen. The family statement added, Ann will be deeply missed, but she lives on through her beautiful sons.
Controversial author Salman Rushdie was stabbed today at an event in Western New York. It happened on stage at the start of this event. State troopers there quickly subdued the suspect, took them into custody. Rushdie was initially treated on scene, then flown to the hospital, and he's reportedly having surgery. The New York State Police released some details this afternoon and said Rushdie was stabbed in the neck. His condition is still unknown at this time. The suspect has been identified, but no motive has been released. Today, we have learned FBI agents uncovered top secret documents when they searched President Trump's home on Monday.
The revelations come after the Justice Department moved to unseal the contents of that search warrant, and the former president did not object. NBC's Susan McGinnis has the latest.
FBI agents in their search of Donald Trump's Florida home on Monday turned up top secret and classified documents meant only for special government facilities, according to NBC News, which has obtained the Justice Department's search warrant. Former President Trump earlier calling for the release of details on the FBI's search, posting on social media, "Release the documents now."
It's not even clear why the Trump team can't just release them on their own.
Trump denying the Washington Post's reporting that documents pertaining to nuclear weapons are among classified documents he improperly took from the White House, the prospect raising many questions.
What did he have in mind? If someone had broken in, that could have put all of our children in danger.
Dangerous rhetoric ramping up against the FBI online and even on Capitol Hill. One Republican congressman tweeting, "We must destroy the FBI."
The FBI raid of President Trump is a complete abuse and overreach of its authority.
The things that people are saying are picked up by people who may be unstable, and it's dangerous. People are threatening our law enforcement personnel. That's completely wrong.
Some Republicans defending the FBI.
I'm disgusted by the attacks on FBI agents.
The violent rhetoric becoming reality Thursday. An armed man who was at the January 6th insurrection tried to breach the FBI's field office in Cincinnati and was killed by law enforcement after appearing to have called online for violence against the FBI.
Subject supposed to be armed with body armor, fired several shots at officers.
The agency charged with protecting national security now also on high alert for the safety of its own agents. Susan McGinnis, NBC News, Washington.
And coming up on NBC Nightly News at 5:30, how the Department of Justice has been handling this historic Trump case and the scrutiny the office is facing as the search warrant is unsealed.
Let's take a live look out at Denver this afternoon, and it is blue skies, a few clouds, and just hot, Kathy. Yeah. I'm tired of saying it. It's hot.
I know, but it is summer in Colorado, and it is August.
Yeah.
I mean, these are true.
What can you expect?
These are facts, yes, but doesn't mean we can't complain about it.
There you go. You guys outside right now, you might even notice a little bit of haze out there. An ozone action alert day today for just those pollutants in the atmosphere. And so if you're sensitive to that, you're going to want to limit your time outdoors. It will cancel out at 4, but reinstate it again tomorrow. We have warm temperatures above the average of 88 today across eastern Colorado, but in the high country, scattered showers and cooler weather. 77 in Steamboat. We had 85 in Gunnison, 72 in Telluride, 94 in Denver. The triple-digit highs are in western Nebraska this hour. And the ozone action day, that alert has canceled out, but we'll be back tomorrow, no doubt. The tropical plume of moisture moving into western Colorado has triggered some heavy rain and also potential for some mudslides in those burn scar areas. So we're monitoring southwestern Colorado today. Slow-moving storms tracking from the south back toward the west. The hail-producing thunderstorms are all in eastern Utah this hour, but a flash flood warning remains in effect for Dolores and San Miguel counties until 4:30 for that cluster of storms just kind of sitting over southwestern Colorado. We have thunder showers around Georgetown and up toward the Idaho Springs area, but they are not going to make it into Denver. Fair skies, light winds tonight, and temperatures that will continue in the 90s until after sunset. Coming up, we'll detail the weekend forecast for you and tell you when Denver sees that cooler weather trend.
Okay, Kathy, thank you. Who's ready for some football? We are one day out from the first preseason game, Broncos and Cowboys, right here on 9 News.
Mike Kliss joins us now to give us a preview of the big game. Mike, big game under the new ownership here. What can we expect?
Yeah, I'm not sure the starters, you're going to see Russell Wilson necessarily. You might see him in warm-ups. You're going to see him in warm-ups. And he'll be visible on the sidelines. But they just had this big joint practice yesterday with the Cowboys. They really went at it hard, very intense. As you may have heard, there were 4 or 5 fights on the Denver defensive side of the field. Russell Wilson really lit up the Cowboys defense, I thought anyway. That was my impression in the practice. So they had a good day, and I think it's time to evaluate the second half of the roster, if you will, to see who's going to make those roster spots. Josh Johnson and Brett Rippon are both going for the number 2 quarterback job. That will be probably the big competition most people will be watching.
Great, fantastic, and it's the Cowboys. The Cowboys are always interesting when they face off with the Broncos.
Hey, Kliss, there's so much new this year, and I know we've been covering this nonstop for the last, months and months and months here. I'm just curious going into tomorrow's game, like what your thoughts on that? So much new happening this year, new quarterback, new ownership, new coach. We can rattle off all the new, right?
Yeah, I know. I get a kick out of when people say, "What do you do in the off season?" And it's been crazy this year with everything that went on. It started with George Payton flew around to 10 different cities to interview 10 different head coach candidates. He wound up with Nathaniel Hackett, who's just this bubbling enthusiasm, all kinds of personality, a lot of energy that he brought compared to the old guard with Vic Fangio, who was more of a dour type head coach, old school type head coach. Then you had the big trade for Russell Wilson, and now Rob Walton and his son-in-law Greg Penner and daughter Carrie Penner are the big investors in the Broncos' new ownership group. Greg Penner will be on the Broncos sidelines interviewing with Rod Mackey during the game on Channel 20. So we invite people to pay attention there and get introduced to the new boss of the Broncos. Greg Penner will be the guy on site running the Broncos, and he's already made a couple of nice hires. Tim Aragon today as general counsel, and yesterday Damani Leach, I should say, as the new team president.
All right, Mike Kliss, thank you so much. We'll check that out tomorrow. So let's talk about that. The Broncos take on the Cowboys at Empower Field mañana. Our preseason game coverage begins with the Broncos tonight at 6 p.m. Game time is then at 7 p.m., and then you can catch all of the action over on Channel 20. And the NFL preseason is ramping up this weekend, but superstar Tom Brady won't be on the field. He is taking time off from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to, quote, deal with some personal things. That's according to Coach Todd Bowles, who says the leave was planned. Brady is expected to miss about a week here, but the coach says he will be in uniform for the regular season.
It's a high-profile civil trial underway right now in L.A.
What Vanessa Bryant's attorneys had to say about the Los Angeles County office, and new information about the investigation into the shooting involving Alec Baldwin in New Mexico. The next steps going on with that coming up.
And right now, live look at Empower Field. Hope we're all getting excited about some football. Also, did we break another record high today? We'll check in with Kathy in about 10 minutes.